Those who have ears to hear, let them listen. So what I want to talk about is judging people, because that is the main criticism that comes at Christians, and it's because we really do judge people. And for the most part, especially right now in Christianity, I'd say we're in a pretty great spot of evangelizing people and bringing people into church, and telling people about God, and that's great, right? But there's so many people in the church that need to be brought more in, and there's people who come to church, and you don't stop there. Once you bring somebody to church, or once you bring somebody to a Bible study, you got to keep going. You got to keep pursuing people. And this generation, that I don't know, it could be for everybody, but I know for one thing, feels like most people my age are looking for an invitation. They're looking for somebody to do something with, Bible study, whatever. They want to spend time with Jesus. They want to do stuff, but they're just waiting for an invitation. And as a follower of Jesus, we gotta be bold. We cannot be the comfortable one sitting and waiting. Okay, we've heard the truth. We know the truth. We gotta go out and do it and act on it. Be bold in your faith, right? And we gotta stop judging people that are inside the church that are walking with God, because everybody is still learning. Think about Peter and the Jerusalem council getting corrected by Paul, because Peter was listening to the spies that were sent, the Jewish spies that were sent in order to disrupt the Christian, the way churches, right? And Peter was saying like, oh yeah, they have to follow the law of Moses, and that's what he was stuck in. And then Paul was able to rebuke him and say, hey, no, it's about listening to your conscience, because in Romans he says the Gentiles have already shown that they know the law of Moses because it's written in their hearts. Everybody, from the moment they're born, they know what's right and wrong. They have that gut feeling, right? And before you do something you're not supposed to, you get that feeling. And I was somebody who would get that feeling and love to feel the breaking of that feeling, because I was like more of a thrill seeker in the wrong way. And I know a lot of people struggle with that exact same thing, right? And in Christianity, you don't lose that. If you're a thrill seeker, Christianity is the religion for you, okay, my friend? You're called to be uncomfortable, called to go be bold and do all these things, but you're going to experience that thrill in a way that you've never thought possible, and a new way that you never even imagined yourself doing, right? And it's not about being perfect, okay? No one is ever perfect. Like my point was just with Peter. Peter was not perfect, even though he was the rock of the church and he was the main church guy in the beginning of Acts, and he was the one leading the charge out of Jerusalem to go spread the gospel to all the Jews. And then he just kind of stopped there, and then he was like, okay, yeah, Gentiles can come in, but you got to get circumcised and you got to follow all the laws of Moses. And then Paul was like, hey, no. But why did they start to agree? Because they had love for each other, and that's the main thing. God is love. Why do you think Christianity spread the way that it did? Why do you think it is spreading the way that it is now? Because it has the basis of love, and everybody wants love. I don't care what you say, or if you're better off alone, and if you think you're fine isolated. I had those same thoughts. You're wrong, okay? Everybody wants and needs love, and God is love. He is the spirit of love. That's at the foundation who he is. Especially, he showed that so much by the fact that he sent his son, or he came down to us to die on the cross for us, in order for us to be able to commune with God and be able to like spend time with him, and like all these amazing things to bring glory back to him, right? So we can't astray from loving one another, and especially in the church. That's where we really have to lean in. And I feel like once you get into church, it's almost so competitive in church, because it's like, oh, who's going to be the best at speaking? And oh, if you're really good at being church, then one day you're going to grow up and be a pastor, and like all this stuff. And it's like, no, there's no such thing as good. What you should be going there for is to lean in on each other, and like it's supposed to be a hospital for broken people, right? And so we're supposed to be, because everyone's broken. Even when you're a Christian, even if you go to church every single Sunday and you read your Bible every single day, you're still broken, okay? And so we should be leaning in and supporting each other and smile, not just smiling and saying, oh, how's it going? And like putting on a little bit of a mask. If you're not doing good, church is where you should go to get healing, to get that prayer, church, there should be no judgment in the church, and there should be no sort of hierarchy. No one is better than the other. Your pastor, the people on the worship team, all those people, they don't have it more figured out than you. Chances are they've probably just been doing it longer than you, and maybe they have a less good figured out than you. That was a stupid way of saying it, but you know what I meant. Like, I was on the worship team in my church, like a long time ago, while not even believing in God. So you should not think of yourself as lower or higher than anybody else in the church. Stop judging each other, okay? Because when we judge each other in the church, that's why people will leave and say that they're judgmental, and then we hear that they're judgmental towards other people. But it's not. That's not the foundation. The foundation is love. That's the main commandment, is to love your God above everyone else, or above anything else, and to love each other. Love your neighbor as yourself, and that means yourself too. You should be loving yourself and forgiving yourself of the sins you've done. And like, it's all about love. And once you do the love and you love people, you can do everything else that he's called you to do with ease. And it's just beautiful, and it's amazing. And if it sounds hypocritical of me to be saying stop judging people the way that I am, it's because one of my gifts is a prophet, and so I just see things and I just have to like shout it out, and I just get verses that go along things. And then what do I have to do? I can't just say that and not do anything about it. I have to live it out. I feel like every time I make one of these videos, God sends me test after test and be like, okay, do you really mean what you're saying? Do you really mean what you're saying? Because he's not going to let me not practice what I preach. That's not what we do in Christianity, or what we're supposed to do in Christianity, all right? So it's just love each other, and not in a smoochy way, but like just have open hearts and be like caring for one another, like a cousin, not in like a weird way, like a Kanye West way, but like an extended family member. You're gonna be like, oh, and like treat them with respect when you're talking to them, like all that kind of stuff, you know. It's just simple as respect with true intentions behind it, you know.